Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Maria, and today we're going to be having a look at the new limited edition release by Dior. It's the three Couleurs, it's the Tirau bliques, and today I'm going to be looking at Mineral Rose, and that is number 833. Yesterday I put up a video on the other eyeshadow palette, and that was 733 in Coral Glow. I've already put on some primer. Today I put on the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydro Primer, and I put this on because I wanted a little bit more of a matte finish, because I'm going to give the Dior Forever Natural Nude Foundation a go. This is in shade 3N. Now I have tried this before. This was quite a while ago last year, but it was, I think when I first tried it, it was autumn last year going into winter. It's a beautiful foundation, the Dior Forever Natural Nude one. It's really, really lovely, but it is quite a glowy foundation, and I have oily skin, but I want to give it a go today. Today's going to be really warm and see how it wears, and I thought to give it its best chance was better to go with a primer that goes on just a little bit more matte than some of my other primers. So I'm just going to pop a couple of pumps on the back of my hand. This one is in the shade 3N. The other Dior foundations I have normally are 2.5. So for me, these shades ran a little bit lighter than normal, so I had to go to 3N. I'm going to use the BK Beauty 101 foundation brush and put some of that on. This does have a really nice fragrance. It smells really nice. It smells quite fresh. So I will also powder this foundation down, and often when I powder a foundation down I will use just a big fluffy brush like the Lumiere powder brush. But today, because this is a more dewy sort of foundation, I will bake it on using my damp beauty blender. This foundation does give a really beautiful finish, but I know that unless I bake it on, I'm not going to bake under my eyes, but just around my cheeks and forehead and through the nose. Unless I really bake this down, it will just get just too greasy looking throughout the day. And even when I bake it on using a damp beauty blender sponge, I still don't know how it will last through the day. But I want to give it a go because I would like to do a video. I bought a lot of foundations last year, and I'd like to do a video just going through probably my 10 favorite ones that can be used for oily skin in winter, ones that are good for summer, and ones that are good for both winter and summer. So I wanted to try this one today in the warmer weather, so when I go to do that video, I'll be able to tell you whether it can be worn in the summer or not if you have oily skin. So I've now put some concealer under my eyes. I've also powdered under my eyes with the By Terry, that's the pressed powder one. I've done my eyebrows, and I've also put some bronzer on. This is the Dior Forever Natural Bronze, and this is in shade 5. You can see from the pan that this is one of my favorite bronzers. I think it just blends really, really beautifully. So I did bake the Chanel loose powder over the top of the foundation, and at the moment it looks really, really beautiful. But it'll be interesting to see how it holds up, because it is going to be really warm here today. So now let's take a look at this Dior eyeshadow. As I said at the beginning of the video, this is 833, and this is Mineral Rose, and this is what she looks like. I think she looks really, really beautiful. And the video that I put up yesterday, and I'll put the link up above here to that video, that was Coral Glow, and I'll give you a quick look at that one. Now, I was really impressed with this. I thought the look looked really, really beautiful. These blend beautifully too, so I'm really excited to try the pink one today. So I'll hold them up side by side so you can take a look at them both together. So this eyeshadow trio, it is a limited edition one and they are exclusive to Selfridges. So I pay the yearly global shipping fee at Selfridges and it works out to be around about 70 or 80 New Zealand dollars a year. And I buy a lot from Selfridges because New Zealand doesn't always get a lot of the new releases, and the fee that I paid for that global shipping was really worthwhile because I ended up buying a lot of things last year. And this eyeshadow palette is made in Italy. It has 3.3 grams of product. And as I was saying in yesterday's video, it's just like the Quince. It has a shelf life that it says from date of opening of 6 months, but they do last a lot longer than that. So today I'm going to be using this just like I did the other one, not just as eyeshadow, but also as a blush and highlighter as well. So I'm going to swatch these on my arm so you can take a look at them. So this is the top shade, and it's a beautiful sort of iridescent type of colour. And this one is the middle shade. Now when these swatch, they look like they're not going to look that great on the eye, but if this is anything like yesterday's palette, it's going to look really, really beautiful on. I'll just go over that middle shade again. So this shade, the one that I used in the Coral Glow palette, I used this as, it's a bit more opaque than a topper, but that's how I used it yesterday, and also as a highlight on my inner corner and also highlighter on my cheeks, and it was really, really beautiful. So I'm going to start off with the middle shade, and I'm going to use my Rapha number 15 brush. I like both warm and cool tone shades on me. I think both are really nice. So I think this will look really beautiful. So you can see when I put it on, it goes on a lot more, I think it goes on a lot more pigmented than when you swatch it. And that sometimes happens with swatches. So you can't always tell what a shadow is going to be like just by looking at swatches. So this blends really beautifully, just like the other eyeshadow palette. And there's definitely a lot more pale on the eyes than when I did the swatch. It is a really, really pretty colour. These are shimmer, I would say, sort of like satiny, and they have a bit of shimmer in them as well. And if they're like the one that I tried to say, the Coral Glow, they don't seem to emphasise the texture on my eyelids. I think they look really beautiful. So using the same brush and the same shade, I'm just going to put that on the outer corner as well. Then I'm going to use the top shade. I'm going to use the Sonia G, it's the Builder Pro, and I'm going to put this over the rest of my lid. When you look at them in the palette, you think they sort of might all merge into one, the colours, but they don't. You get that difference between the shade and the one that I just put on. They are really, really lovely. Now I wasn't too sure with these pink shades when I first saw them, because I want to take that first shade again and run that under my lower lash line, and I wasn't too sure whether I was going to, but now that I've put it on, there doesn't seem to have any red in there, so it won't make my eyes, sometimes if I put red underneath here, it can make my eyes look like they look sore, but I think this will be fine. So I'm going to run that under my lower lash line. No, it looks good. So it's really, it looks really pretty. So now I'm going to take the Rapha 02 brush, and I'm going to go into this lighter shade down here. This is what I did yesterday, and put it over the top of this shade just here with yesterday's one, it just gave everything a bit of a lift, and it does exactly the same with this as well. It's really, really beautiful. I didn't picked up a bit too much. There is a little bit of fallout just there, but nothing dramatic. And then I'm just going to use the Rapha 14. I'm going to go back into the middle shade. I did this yesterday as well, just to add a little bit more shadow in the corner. Sometimes it gets a bit lost putting that lighter shade over the top, and just blend those together. And with the Sonia G Blender Pro and going into that lightest shade, again I'm just going to put a little bit on the brow bone, then I'll blend that together in a minute. So this is my Hourglass, this is the blend brush, and I'm just going over here just to soften the lines a little bit. So now I'm going to put on some eyeliner. I'm going to use the same one that I used yesterday. It's Sicily. It's the Phyto Cold Star waterproof one. This is in sparkling brown. I think that'll go really lovely with the pink colour. So I've got my mascara on now as well. I think this is really lovely too. I don't know whether I like this one or the Coral Glow more. They're both very different. This is more of a cool eye look. The other one's a bit warmer. But they are really beautiful. They are beautiful to blend, and I think they just blend so beautifully. And yesterday also I wore mine for probably at least 8 hours, and when I went to wash it off or to do my evening skincare routine, it looked just as good as when I put it on. So they last beautifully too. I did this yesterday, I forgot to highlight the inner corner, so I'm going to do that now. I've wiped down my Rapha number 3 brush. I'm going to go into that lightest shade and just put some of that in my inner corner. So now we'll use this palette as a blush, just like I did with the Coral Glow yesterday. I'm going to use the Hourglass. This is the F03 brush, and I'm going to go into the middle shade. And I've got a feeling this could be quite pigmented, so I'll go fairly easy with it. So I'll just dip the brush back in again. I think I went too lightly in the pan. So it does give this really soft, like ethereal type of glow. It's really, really beautiful. I don't think with using it as a blush it is as pigmented as the middle shade in the Coral Glow palette. You sort of have to dip the brush back in, but this is quite a fluffy brush. You could probably use something a little bit denser, although I quite like it, this really soft look. And then I'm going to go into the lighter shade using the Rapha fan brush. It's the number 20, and use this as a highlighter. Although the blush underneath is quite shimmery as well, but the highlight uses a highlight. That bottom shade does give a little bit more glow on the cheekbones. Then I'm going to take the Sonia G, this is the smooth buffer, and just buff that, well, the highlight and the one I used as a blush together a bit, just to soften them out. And for the lipstick, I'm going to use a Tom Ford one. This is in Blush Nude. I only just picked this up recently. This is a beautiful shade. But first of all, I'm just going to use some lip liner. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat one. This is in Pillow Talk. And here is the finished look. Just like yesterday, I think it's really pretty. It's such a feminine, soft look. It is really beautiful. And used as a blush, there is quite a bit of shimmer there. But again, it's very soft and really feminine, and it's sort of like an ethereal look on the cheeks. It's really beautiful. The foundation is holding up quite well. It is just after 12 o'clock here, and it's starting to get fairly warm in the room, and my oils haven't even started to come through yet. So with this foundation, maybe baking it on with that damp beauty blender was the way to go, but we'll see how it wears throughout the rest of the afternoon. The eyeshadows are beautiful. They are just so pretty, and they blend beautifully. So out of the two eyeshadow palettes, it really depends what type of colour story you like. Do you like the pinks or do you like the coral? And it really is a true coral. It's very soft, and that gave a beautiful look as well. But I do love the pink. I'm just looking at the monitor here to see what it looks like in the monitor, and it looks just as good as it does in the mirror in front of me as well. I'm really impressed, and like I said, the longevity of these shadows is really good. I wore it for at least 8 hours yesterday, and the coral glow looked just as good when I went to wash it off as after I just applied it for doing the video. So really great longevity in these shadows, and they don't crease or emphasize texture on my mature eyelids. Just really beautiful. So I really love both of these palettes. So what do you think? Which do you think is the better color? I suppose it's just a personal preference, but they're really beautiful and a lovely spring 2022 release. And like I said yesterday, it is summer here, and it's really nice to use some releases when it is the actual season, although it's summer and not spring. But this is just a really beautiful, not just a spring look, but I think a really beautiful summer look as well. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye.